Welcome to Nana's Angels. The name comes from my grandchildren who I believe God sent to me as little angels to comfort and love me and to give me someone to protect and love after my children grew up. The purpose of my channel is to try to help any lost child or child that has been harmed. I truly believe that children are a gift from God. They are angels sent from above. And this is also a platform for you to have a place for your opinions, feelings, and thoughts without criticism or ridicule. Please feel welcome. I hope you stick around, and love, hugs, and prayers to everyone for all the cases, for all the lost children, for all the children who are hurting. Become one of Nana's angels and a warrior for the children. Like, subscribe, and share. You know, I'm not going to read over all these emails and all this stuff about Jared and his cousin and his sister. Now, there is one at the end of this video that I might read out to you, and it sort of explains why she didn't come forward before now. What I will tell you is my opinion, and I've thought long and hard about even doing this video because it involves a lot of personal information, personal harm, personal, heartbreak. But in my everybody is going after these women, saying, "Oh, you've waited so long. Why didn't you come forward before now?" Like, I mean, before they were 18, they probably couldn't have because of the family or the fact that they weren't 18, they weren't adults. As children, maybe they thought they wouldn't be believed. I mean, nobody in the family were actually doing anything to protect them or save them, so why would they trust anybody else or trust that they would be believed? But I can tell you that as a child, when something happens to you, when somebody messes with you in that way, you try to keep it secret. You try to keep it hidden. Not, I mean, for some people it might be because they are ashamed or think that it's their fault. But in other families, not families like that, but in protective families, you keep it a secret because you don't want your loved ones to go to jail because you know what they could possibly do to that person. When I was growing up, calling the law, turning it into CPS or whatever, was not the first thought that a family, a brother, a father, a mother, that's not the first thought they have. The first thought they have is to do away with the person that hurt the child. And I know personally when it happened to me, there was only one other person that knew about it, and that was my sister. And now, first of all, the trauma that happens, that eats away at you. But also because it did not go too far with me. And I alerted my sister to what was going on. It was her husband. I was still small. And because she confronted her husband about what he was doing to her baby sister, you have to understand, I was staying the week at her house with her. And when she confronted him, I had to lay in the bedroom, the next bedroom over from them, and listen to him beat her and torture her in every manner, essaying in every possible manner you can think of in that way. And like I said, he beat her and arred her and tortured her the rest of the night. And I had to lay there and listen to it. And I was a small child, so there was nothing I could do. And to know that their small baby, we're talking under a year old, was laying in the room with them in his crib. Needless to say, the next day, after the monster left for work, we called our mom because my sister did not have a vehicle because her husband was a very controlling person. We called our mom and our oldest sister came and picked us up because we were like 3 towns away from where I lived. And my sister left her husband, and we never told anyone, no one, for years. It wasn't until after my father died that anybody was ever told about what happened. As I got older and married, I never thought much about what had happened to me until it was time to be intimate with my own spouse. And let me inform you all, that's when the nightmares come back. So to wonder why these women waited 30 years, it's because the torment, and might as well say post-traumatic stress disorder, doesn't pop up until years later. and you finally realize what is causing all these problems in your personal marital life, your personal life when it comes to any kind of relationship, intimate relationship. And you wonder why, when they walk up behind you and go to touch you or hug you, you cringe, or your first thought is to fight, and it causes problems. That's when you know there's a real problem there. And if it's just walking up and hugging you and there's a problem, you can imagine what it would be like in a more intimate setting. So I would just like to ask for you all to stop giving these women grief. It doesn't always have to do with money. It could just have more to do with personal choices about when you're willing to admit what happened and how bad it has destroyed your life. It could have more to do with harming the family than anything else. And let me tell you something, I did, as an adult, was able to confront this person. And I did try, because he was planning on getting married to a woman who had a small little girl. And I did tell this woman what had happened. It didn't help. They got married. They wound up having a kid together. But it was a nightmare. I cried for 2 hours. He had came to my house to try, because my sister had the child with him. He had came to my house to try to get in touch with my nephew. That's when him and his fiance had showed up. And after he left, I cried for 2 hours and jerked. For the people who haven't been through that kind of situation, you'll never understand. To this day, there's still not many people who know about what happened. My nephew is in his 40s now. And yes, me and his mother told him about it when he was probably his late 20s. It's a nightmare, guys. One that you should hope you nor any child you ever know ever goes through. And I can only imagine what people go through that went through worse than what I did. I know the heartache that it brings me still to this day. So don't always just jump to the conclusion that people want money. That's not always the case. Say prayers for all the victims, guys. And I'll see you on the next video. Just part of the emails or the reasons why she didn't. It says, you act like I sat on this information for years, not suffering from any of the fallout, and seeing he was gaining popularity and said, hey, I think I should ruin his newfound hero of the people. No, absolutely not. I did not suddenly find the courage to do anything about it. I was unable to do anything about it until I had proof, which I finally got in the emails. Until that point, it was just my word against his. Now, with the proof out there, and the people in my family can't play dumb and act like they don't know. He named the people, he told, and now there are family members who spoke up on my behalf and made statements of their knowledge, and he made all that possible with his emails. So see, people, there are more reasons why people do not come forward than just money. Not everybody is worried about greed.